Hey teacher friend, welcome back to my channel. My name's Molly and I'm a 5th grade teacher who helps other teachers just like you structure their literacy time so they can spend more time teaching and less time prepping, taking the stress out. And last week I talked about how to do Daily 5 in kindergarten. Another highly asked question over on TikTok was, how do I do Daily 5 in first grade? So I'm going to break down all about Daily 5 in first grade, and you're going to see a lot of similarities to this that you did in the kindergarten one, but I wanted to add a few little things that are different because I've taught both kindergarten and first grade. So let's recap kind of what we've already learned. If you haven't watched my kindergarten video, that's okay, because I'm going to break it down here again too. One of the things I like to tell people is that Daily 5 is how you structure your literacy time. It is not how you teach. It's not the science of reading. It's not the reading program you're using. It's how you structure your literacy time. If you're unfamiliar with the Daily 5 method, I'm going to explain it a little bit, but I highly encourage you to get the Daily 5 book, which I'll leave a link below so you can check it out on Amazon. It's pretty affordable and it's the most used book I've ever had in my teacher book cabinet. I use it every year. It has tons of post-it notes in it of my notes. I reference it when I'm making my anchor charts and everything. So I highly suggest you check that out. So Daily 5 encourages your students to be independent so that you can get to all of your reading groups. And I thought that Daily 5 was something that a lot of people knew about, but I don't think it's as widespread as I originally thought. So when I talked about it on TikTok, I got so many comments. How can I do this in kindergarten? How can I do this in first grade? I even have a really good teacher friend named Amber. She's over at Burned-In Teacher, and she's a kindergarten teacher, and she had known about Daily 5, but was messaging me and said, Molly, how do I do this with all my kindergartners? I have 27 kids this year. I do not know how I'm going to make this work. Once I explained it to her, she was like, you need to create a class on how to teach the way you do Daily 5, because it just transformed the way she was teaching her reading block. So if it can happen for her, it can happen for you too. So stay tuned because I'm going to get to all the parts of what you need to have a successful literacy block, with the ultimate goal being that you're getting to all those reading groups, whatever you have them arranged. I'm not going to tell you how to do that because that's up to you. If you're curious how I do things, then you can always leave a question below, but I definitely don't want this to get too divisive. This is about the structure, not about how you teach it. Okay, so we've talked about how it makes our students more independent, and first graders are super capable of rotating stations all on their own. The key is you have to set them up for success. So you're going over those Daily 5 expectations every day. I've kind of tweaked the ones from the original book. So mine are: get started right away, stay in one spot, level 0, work the whole time, build your stamina. I have that chart inside my TPT store if you'd like to use it in your classroom as well. I find going over those rules every day not only helps with my students knowing exactly what's expected of them, but it also kind of clears any anxieties of, you know what you should be doing. And it really helps when you have a substitute in the room because they know what to do. I also use a Daily 5 chart with all their choices on the smartboard, whatever kind of technology you have in your classroom to project on the board. And I teach my students how to rotate independently. So if they see RS on that chart, then they go to read to self. This takes a little bit of time. In kindergarten, they can do it too. In first grade, they get a little bit better at it because their reading is a little bit more developed than in kindergarten. But I'm telling you, it is life-changing. Instead of calling them to the carpet every time you need to rotate stations, you just have them go when the timer goes off and they go to their next station. It's all color coordinated as well. If you'd like to use the same chart that I use, then you can also find that in my TPT store. I've created that method, honed in on it really well, and there's even a video to go along with it to teach you how to use it. So check that out. Okay, so you might be wondering right now, what are the stations you do in first grade? So they're the same as kindergarten with one added in. So we keep read to self. You build the stamina for 15 minutes until you reach that. I also have a chart inside my TPT store where you can color in how many minutes they get every time until you hit your goal of 15 minutes. It's really motivating for them to see that. So working towards that. So I start with read to self, and then we also do word work, which you tie to your book groups usually. But again, I'm not here to teach you how to teach reading. I'm just showing you how to structure it. Work on writing as well as the next one, and listen to reading, where they can listen to books on an iPad. You have to really teach them how to do that so they're not trying to get on other things. And then the last one that's different from kindergarten daily 5 is I add read to friend in. So the reason I don't do that as much in kindergarten is because many of my students in the Title I building didn't come in knowing how to read at all. And so teaching them how to read to friend doesn't really work. The first school I was teaching for had a split classroom of kindergartners and first graders. So read to friend was really easy to do with them. But I found at my last school, not so easy. So I took that away for kindergarten. But in first grade, I think they can do that. So that's about the only time they won't have a level 0 voice. They'll be whispering to a friend. So, oh, and the last choice is also book club. That's when they meet with you. You might call it book group. Your guided reading time when they come to you. So you might have noticed that's more than 5 choices. They're not going to have the same one every single day. They might have book group Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That all depends on when you schedule them. So there is the difference between kindergarten to first grade. It's just read to friend. Those are the ones that are recommended in the Daily 5 book. You can change them out though. At different times in my teaching career, I even had P for puzzles because my kids really loved them and I had a lot of great puzzles. You could even do memory matching cards. Again, not telling you how to do it. And I'm being very careful with my words here because there was a lot of comments over on TikTok about this, and I just felt like people were misunderstanding structure versus the intent of what you're actually teaching. Okay, so if you're going over the expectations every day, you're using the chart, you're sticking with the same routine and building that, you will have a solid daily 5 schedule down. In a month's time, your kids will be reading silently, working on activities. And if your administrator walks in the room, they will be overjoyed with how well your literacy block is running. I'm telling you, it is life-changing. And if you are stressed out at all during reading time, it's probably because you don't have a solid structure in place and your students have no idea what to do with themselves when they're not meeting with you at your teacher table. I hope you found this video helpful. Please leave any questions below that you have for me about Daily 5 and first grade or kindergarten. And I'm switching to 5th grade, so by this point of the year, I'm going to be doing 5th grade. So I'll probably have a video come out about that and how that's different. But honestly, the structure stays the same. Kids are kids and they just need to know what's expected of them so they can do their job so you can do your job and teach guided reading groups. If you'd like to learn more about how to transform your literacy block, check out my free guide, The First 10 Steps to Get That Going. It's really comprehensive and it'll walk you through, and many parts of it mirror the Daily 5 as well. And all of the products I talked about in this video are linked below. So check those out and make Daily 5 easier on yourself by having everything prepared and your anchor charts ready to go. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.